Solomon authored the book of Proverbs especially for his son, and it contains 7 hidden laws for a child who was going to inherit the most potent economy the ancient world had ever witnessed, not for rulers or traders. Furthermore, very few people have accurately read them, because they have been viewed as Sunday morning encouragement, spiritual poetry, and moral counsel in antiquated language by every generation. They're not. They are an operating system for finance. Exact testing. The people who never stop reading them have demonstrated this across 3,000 years of economic collapse, persecution, war, and exile. You will grasp all 7 at the end of this lesson, and at the end, a prayer of wisdom and heritage awaits you. Wait for it to come. This is the truth. Right now, the majority of individuals are seated inside. You received 1 or perhaps 2 diplomas. Algebra, chemistry, literature, and history were all taught to you. A foundation for comprehending the world was provided to you. Nobody gave you a blueprint for accumulating riches within it. Owners were never intended to be produced by the educational system. It was intended to generate employees, people who were trained to make money off of pre-existing systems rather than those who were qualified to create systems of their own. As a result, you became financially illiterate as an adult in a society that takes advantage of this. The credit card arrived before I had the discernment to turn it down. Because everyone in your immediate vicinity had a car, the car payments seemed typical. Before the month ended, the paycheck vanished. Additionally, in the recesses of your thoughts, no class ever responded to the inquiry that was created. Why does it seem like I'm continually in danger of collapsing? In a book he authored for his own child 3,000 years ago, Solomon provided a response to that query in wording so detailed it reads like a surgical manual for the 156 precise financial wound. Are you currently carrying 7 statutes authored by the richest man in history for his son? Schools don't teach any of them. First law, always prioritize intellect before wealth. Proverbs, take your time reading it. This is the beginning of wisdom. Gain wisdom, even if it costs you everything. Learn to comprehend. Take note of what Solomon leaves out. Get income is not what he says. He doesn't say get assets. He doesn't advise obtaining capital, credentials, or relationships. He advises acquiring wisdom first and at all costs. This isn't inspiring words. This is an instruction for sequencing. Solomon served as evidence for his own beliefs. God advised him to ask for everything he desired when he appeared in 1 Kings 3. Gold was not requested by Solomon. He did not demand governmental authority, military supremacy, or the annihilation of his adversaries. God granted him both a discerning heart and what he asked for. The wealth comes after the wisdom. The majority of people flip the order. They pursue wealth in the hopes that knowledge will follow. However, comprehension does not come before provision. It comes after it. A legacy is not created by wealth, given to someone who lacks the infrastructure to support it. It provides for a way of life until it vanishes. The first law is not a recommendation. Every other law is built upon it. Law 2, protect your margin as a military would a perimeter. Proverbs, the prudent hoard fine food and olive oil, while the foolish swallow them whole. Because it is uncomfortable, this scripture is hardly ever preached from a pulpit. Overflow is not promised. Before overflow occurs, discipline is required. The phrase, the wise store up, appears in the original Hebrew bears the burden of strategic placement rather than hoarding, positioning, or establishing the reserve before the season requires it. Benjamin Graham devoted his whole professional life to translating this one concept into the vernacular of contemporary markets. He referred to it as the safety buffer. Don't ever run at maximum capacity. The difference between your duties and your actual resources is not empty space. Therefore, always have something on hand. Armor is that gap. Solomon was already putting this ideas into practice on a scale that Graham could only research theoretically. Solomon's 12 administrative districts each supplied 1 month's worth of food for the royal family during the height of his rule. Home. There isn't a single district that has everything. Each of the 12 sources contributed their share. The system is stable, the load is distributed, and there isn't a single point of failure that might bring the entire system down. To be honest, how many days would it take for the armor to fail if your income ceased today? That figure represents your margin, and your freedom is your margin. This is the second law. Prior to giving, investing, or spending storage, construct the cushion and shield the opening. Because the sensible person is not afraid.